light in there.
We're gonna have to get a new SD card here soon.
Are we?
Yeah, it's we got 2 hours and 50 minutes left in this thing.
What did we start with?
It was like 60, or no, it was like 90 something.
You just delete everything, can you?
Could. I might just get another card though, because I kind of want to keep the raw recordings for posterity.
End up selling them, you know, prostitute money, whatever it is, whatever it might be.
Could be worth money one day.
Maybe.
Alright, let's fucking do that.
Banksterberry tastes like poverty.
What's it called?
Banksterberry.
Banksterberry.
I need to get some sort of tape to put over this can since they're not paying us money.
No. Let me go ahead and pull up.
What's going on, fellas?
Is somebody already on there?
We've got Mr. Ryan and Matthew DeForge.
Damn.
Powerful. Powerful waiting on Instagram. Boom.
Jeez.
God damn. Whoever made this light, your mom's a hoe.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah. Hold on a second. You hear that?
Yeah, it's interference. It has to do with your phone. It's when you touch it. It's when you touch it.
No problem. I have a bad time touching it.
Alright, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Shit, my sound's off on my phone. Alright.
That's an I don't know a goddamn thing about the Clintons, boy.
And we're back with another episode of Buns and Tugs. We're here with you on this Tuesday night. Another night episode. Not as hot as it has been in here.
No, that's what happens when you almost wait till goddamn Wednesday to start recording.
Yeah, I made sure to open my garage door and the door to the studio to let in some fresh air. You know.
It's real fresh.
So it's a little bit nicer. I hopefully won't be melting on this episode like I was in the last few.
You got a nice sheen like we're somewhere south of the border.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's not comic.
Maybe I just did a couple, I did like some push-ups or something.
Push-ups, maybe a small conversational line of cocaine.
Yeah, just a bump.
You know, it's late. What do you expect?
But I mean, we are the conspiracy podcast.
Those conspiracy boys.
Man, and listen.
This motherfucker.
I hate to be the one to say, I told you so, to all you cocksuckers out there that doubted us.
Yeah. Ooh-wee.
But I fucking told you so.
Jury's still out
Now,
there.
I'm not talking about our listeners for the most part. If you're listening, if you've been listening to the show, I highly doubt you're one of the cocksuckers I just mentioned.
They're not. We're talking about people that don't listen, that work in the factory perhaps, or that we pass on a day-to-day basis.
And they're just like, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. No, of course, politicians and the media and celebrities and all them wouldn't be. They're not all pedophiles.
No.
Suck. I guess they would, but suck a fat baby's dick, I guess.
Fat one, yeah. A
Because
baby.
that's something they'd actually want to do.
A baby that's of age.
But yeah, so it would have been enough of a story this week if we would have talked about just the 2,000 pages that were released for the court documents on Friday.
Yeah.
That would have been enough to talk about.
Right.
Because it implicated, Prince Andrew, Queen Elizabeth's son, in this stuff involving in Epstein's case, to the point where Epstein forced a girl to have sex with him.
Where'd the prince end up going? Is he hanging out with...
He's hanging out with Mom.
I thought maybe he was hanging out with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Well, we did talk about...
Dead as fuck.
As I say, apparently, according to somebody on Reddit or 4chan, they posted saying that they were part of the British press. They worked for the British press. And they said that a memo had been sent out by the government for what was called a bridge event. And I guess a bridge event is code for somebody in the royal family has died.
Yes.
Or someone really important has died. And we have to prepare for a big funeral.
8 days.
Yeah.
It's a long goddamn time.
So...
It's like a inner city family reunion time.
If you hear some shit in the next couple of days, like, oh shit, Prince Andrew died.
Yeah.
Like, don't be surprised. But that in and of itself would have been a great story. But then Saturday morning, can I just like tell the story?
You can.
So like we talk about Epstein all the time, right?
In our private lives.
Yeah, like we were just like
on the podcast.
Yeah, I was just ready. I was ready for him to name names, right?
Bounce it out.
And then that release happens on Friday, and I'm like, yes. I was like, it's implicating the right kind of people.
Yes.
Right? And then Saturday morning, I was at the factory, and I'm flipping through just fucking, Drudge Report, and I usually keep Daily Mail up because they're a rag, but occasionally they'll come up with something.
Right.
And I refresh the Daily Mail page, and in the big headline, Epstein is dead.
No.
And I was like, no.
No.
I felt fucked up.
Yeah.
And then, then I looked into it more, and, supposedly, he killed himself.
Sounds like horse shit.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up a good point when we were talking about it the next day. You said, because the thing is, like, when that happened, it spurned, like, people that I've never seen roam in the conspiracy circles were suddenly talking about it and memeing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people who I'd never heard them talk a single word of conspiracy or how the government, is a bunch of pedophiles or Satanists or whatever, are suddenly, like, coming out of the woodwork.
Now they're saying it like they've been saying it. Like, I told you everybody's Luciferian child rapist.
But, and everybody's coming out with it. And then you made a good point the next day. You said that it seems real weird that, like, suddenly everybody's on board with this.
Yeah.
That, like, it wasn't intentional, that they wanted us to be on all board with the notion that it was a conspiracy.
Yeah, and that troubles me. It's still in my head, but I don't know. It's like, even today, what are we at? Let's see, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We're what, 3 days out from it happening?
4 days.
4 days. So, I don't know when this episode of the Joe Rogan Show podcast was put out, but he was talking about it on his podcast.
Yeah.
And they pull up a picture of Epstein's cellie.
Yeah.
You seen it?
No.
You should look it up. This motherfucker looks like he's taking probably like 3,000 milligrams a week of testosterone.
Is he the guy that saved him?
I think so. The ex-cop.
Okay, yeah, I saw him.
Okay. He's fucking ridiculous, right? And everybody's like, well, I mean, yeah, that guy's definitely strong enough to bear hug Epstein and hang him and then be like, I found him in the corner.
Yeah.
But it's just another piece that's like, they're leaving you this bait that makes everything seem so goddamn convenient. Like, yeah, the cellie killed him. Yeah, the Clintons killed him. Yeah, he killed himself. And I doubt all of those things, really. I'd say that they're more likely that the Clintons had a hand in it or somebody else did, but it's just as likely that he paid to escape.
Yeah.
And that's fucking bad.
Well, see, the thing is, the big Twitter trend Saturday and Sunday was Clinton body count. And you actually saw how it was trending, and supposedly news articles were put out saying that Clinton body count and Trump body count were fighting each other, hashtagging on Twitter, right, on which one would trend more.
Right.
Well, come to find out that, like, the top trend in 49 of the 50 states was Clinton body count.
So it was organic.
Only one state.
Homegrown.
Only one state was it hashtag Trump body count being higher, and that was in California, and they located it to a very specific area. So it was a bot farm.
Yeah.
33,000 people in that one area tweeting out hashtag Trump body count. Now, I'm not saying that Trump's absolved of sin here, but it just seems a little bit fishy that that's the only place where that actually trended.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's what I think we talked about. We're not going to make this entire episode about Epstein, obviously. But
no. We actually had other stuff to talk about.
We plan on doing one later once the dust settles and the disinformation is swept out, because there's so much goddamn disinformation right now.
But just know that we'll continue to talk about it as things develop and change. But as it sits right now,
what's your favorite theory?
That he's not dead.
Yeah.
And that he was whisked away to a secure facility.
Sort of, because they knew there was a threat.
Yeah, they knew that they were going to get to him.
And then when the trial starts, he's going to come out as a witness, and everybody's heads are going to explode.
It's either that, or they took him to Guantanamo, and he has currently been waterboarded for the last 4 days because they're trying to squeeze that lemon and get all the juice out of it.
I feel like there's better ways than waterboarding.
And then, so a couple days later, they went over to his little island. The FBI did,
yeah,
right? And mind you, let me reiterate this because I thought this was crazy. They sent more people to arrest Roger Stone, the FBI did, than they did to Epstein Island to collect evidence.
Well, it takes less people to destroy evidence that the Clintons were involved than it does to arrest a political prisoner.
And then supposedly there were electronic devices that were taken off the island before the FBI got there. So they had the time to be able to, get that shit off the island.
I had a message that someone said Epstein Island was ablaze, like 6 hours after the FBI raided it. Huh. I didn't confirm that. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't heard that at all.
I know they had a fire like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Before he was even in the news. But
it's just the whole thing, like you said. We might down the road do a whole episode on it, but I'd say we'd probably be updating the whole time, and maybe when we get a clearer picture, we'll be able to do all the justice. And I know it's been generating inspiration in people. I saw that. Our fellow podcasters, Ohio, did their Clinton episode.
Yeah.
And I kind of laughed. Like, we were us and they're them, and I kind of laughed at it, though, because I was like, they made some comment like, well, now we're going to get killed. And I'm thinking in my head, I was like, if we're not dead yet for the shit that we've said, and because we've been harping on this for a long time, I was like, I think you're going to be okay.
Although, after we do this episode, we just get killed.
Yeah, right.
We walk into your house and there's like a house fire that shoots us in the back of the head.
My dog has a gun, but you didn't know it was me, I saw.
Yeah.
But shout out to my dog. We just had her 100th birthday yesterday.
Oh yeah.
We served cheeseburgers.
Jamal.
And gave her cheeseburgers and sponge cake with whipped cream icing.
Jesus wept.
She loved it.
She's gonna go another 100 years at this rate.
I know, right? She had a blast. And she wore a little sombrero.
I like that hat.
Yeah.
I saw Toby just posted pictures of it.
Yeah. And, we invited her dog friends over, too.
Yeah.
It was quite adorable.
Who were her dog friends?
Well, my mom and dad's dog, Missy.
Ah.
And my sister's dog, Pancakes.
Okay.
And then, Ziggy was here.
Look at you.
The other one.
The whole crowd.
Oh, yeah, it was cool. It was kind of cute because, they all kind of got along with each other. And Queenie was excited to see all of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I know normally, I've cast aspersions and shade at people who throw dog parties.
Yeah, we actually called them bougie.
But here's the thing. I think it's something worth celebrating when she turns 100 years old.
I mean, that's a centurion dog.
Exactly, and that's my logic. Like, she has lived a full dog life.
It's not some punk-ass, 3-year-old dog.
Yeah.
We got some messages here I'd like to catch up on real quick.
Oh, okay.
Chadwick_Andy. Been pumped for this episode since the Epstein news. Only dudes I trust. We appreciate that. Left and right unite. Why would they want that? The Ohio guys are great. I heard about you guys through their podcast. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they are.
I'm not saying anything against
I've never
them.
met Rob, but I've had sex with Nick a couple times.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think they'll be okay because all things considered, I mean, we've been harping about this shit for quite a while.
Yeah.
But
if you guys see me get arrested or Tubbs get arrested or either of us commit murder or suicide, then look out.
Yeah. Hey, just FYI, neither of us, and you could affirm that neither of us are pedophiles. Neither of us have an urge to kill each other. Neither of us are diagnosed with depression or any mental illness that would make us want to kill each other. And we're all both fairly good drivers.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 0 points on my license right now.
Right. I mean, I drove drunk into a semi one time head on the interstate, but I still lived.
It was a long time ago.
It's a testament to my driving abilities.
Exactly. Yeah, you survived.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
I had a seatbelt on. And no one was hurt.
But,
shout out liquor.
Right? Exactly.
Can I see your phone real quick? Or just have the emails pulled up because we got some shout outs to do at the end.
Oh, right. Well, let me wait till the end because my phone's at 3%.
Oh, shit the bed. Copy.
But yeah, so I feel like this whole Epstein thing and everything that comes with it, it's something that has to be like weighted on. Mm-hmm. Because here's the other thing is like there's a third party that I feel like nobody's talking about as much as they should, and they're notorious for sending assassins.
Yeah.
And that's the British royal family.
Hmm.
You know, considering Queen Lizzie's very own son got thrown under the bus in those reports.
And hasn't been seen since.
You know, she probably, like, fucking was sitting there and, like, she fucking, like, you know, gritted her teeth and was like, fucking peasants.
Yeah. God damn. Who cares if we fuck their children?
Yeah.
You know?
How dare they question our child fucking?
It's kind of fucked that you've got private, you know, there's contract killers that work for the rich, the powerful, here in this country. Then you've got, like you said, you know, the English monarch assassins. Mm-hmm. Then you've got ties to the Pope. We all know about the Catholic assassins. Yeah. I mean, it's
well, you know,
are they tripping over each other?
Not to change the subject, but I found something ironic and funny the other day, and this will be me casting dispersions. Pope Francis said something like he doesn't like the nationalistic rhetoric that countries are coming up with now.
I don't like child fucking.
He's like,
piece of shit.
And he tried. This is the balls on this man. He's like, it's reminiscent of Nazi Germany, and I'm like, it's funny as the Pope, you mentioning anything being compared to Nazi Germany, considering you cocksuckers stood by and watched that shit happen and didn't do a goddamn thing about it.
They slept on the Holocaust the same way God did.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to that, y'all could suck a big fat dick.
Suck a big old.
You have no horse in that race. You sat back and watched the shit happen and didn't do a fucking thing.
It's all mind control anyway. Fuck what they say.
I mean, fuck everything that they said.
Yeah.
For real, like, and you know, people are touting this Polish kid in Poland who walked out in front of an LGBT march with a Catholic cross held out, like he's some sort of crusader. And people are, like, touting him. I mean, I'm sure there's listeners of ours that thought it was cool as fuck. But here's the thing, like, you've listened to the show long enough to know, I really don't give a shit about that shit.
No.
It doesn't, like, if they're consenting fucking adults, why do I care?
Right.
So why is this dude fucking... They did nothing to affect him.
Not yet.
And yet he went out there and, like, stood his ground. He means as much to me as the dudes who, like, kneel for the national anthem like that dude did at the fencing championship last week. Mm-hmm. Like, it means nothing to me.
It's a fucking mind war of virtue signaling on all sides.
All over the place.
Fucking eat a gun. Anyway, you know. I don't know.
You don't know. We don't know. I don't know anything.
We know you weren't casting aspersions there, Chadwick, Andy. We're good. We're just being silly. But I really did have sex with Nick a couple times.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Smith, love you guys. Keep up the good work. We love you. And we love you more.
Yeah. So, today's topic, what we originally wanted to do before Epstein, all that stuff broke out.
Yes.
Was we wanted to, like, help remind people why gun confiscation. Did I say that right?
Gun confiscation.
Did I say that right though?
Confiscation.
Gun confiscation. There we go.
I think that's right.
And red flag laws and all their other little nonsense.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, is an infringement not just your Second Amendment rights. It's an infringement upon your natural right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? And I have two cases I want to talk about. We talked about doing the one, but then I figured I want to do the other one too. And the other one happened a long time ago. And it was actually the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. And nobody really wants to talk about the fact, this is why you don't let the government take away your guns. Because you get shit like fucking Wounded Knee.
There you are.
That's the one I wanted to talk about first. The largest mass shooting in U.S. history was perpetrated. Man, God, I have a fucking speech impediment.
We need to quit doing these late shows.
Yeah.
You get past your 7 o'clock bedtime and it's all bad.
I get sundowners, it's all over with. The largest mass shooting in U.S. history was perpetrated. Did I say it right that time? I'm having a time tonight.
I wasn't even looking at you, but it sounded like you were going through it with that.
I'm 100% sober too. That's the worst part.
Maybe that's the problem.
Was perpetrated by God damn it, by the U.S. government itself.
I keep hearing that dude in the I don't even remember what movie it was. Marriage. Perpetrated.
But no, Wounded Knee was the largest mass shooting in U.S. history. 250 dead. And do you want anybody out there? I'm sure most of us went through most of middle school, high school history.
Yeah.
You have to know, the name has to ring a bell, right? So let me break it down for you.
Break it down.
We have the Lakota people on a reservation, Wounded Knee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
And basically, it's a shitheel. Wounded Knee Creek, that's what it was. This is where it gets sticky, because I don't want to fuck anything up.
Sticky wicket. Alright guys, if this fucks up the live stream, I'll be right back. I gotta check these messages. And we're back.
The cavalry doesn't want these individuals to, be able to fight back.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, you do have to take in the fact this is 1890.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've always had a really, hard time dealing with brown people and red people being able to, do what we do.
People with color.
Yeah. I hate that term.
I know. Well, I said with.
Oh, okay.
I say of. So it's crazy you can't say colored people, but you can say people of color.
It's the same thing.
You're right.
But
colored people makes me feel weird, so I feel like people of color should make me feel just as weird.
But it just goes to show you that our love affair with hating red and brown people is nothing new.
People who aren't pink.
Yeah. With the pale flesh of a ghost.
Yeah. Smelling like milk and blood.
Yeah.
What have you.
Growing beards and shit.
Okay.
Hey, so they're in this reservation, surrounded by the U.S. cavalry.
Yeah.
And they decide, fuck these motherfuckers, we're taking their guns.
Fuck them.
So they go in to start fucking doing their thing, and they end up killing 250 Native Americans in doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the reason, like I said, this is why anytime anybody talks about red flag laws or gun control or gun confiscation or anything like that, this is why you gotta say no. Because you cannot trust the government.
Fuck no.
With this shit.
That's one of the best things that just to touch the titty of the Epstein thing again. One of the best memes I saw come out of that Epstein situation said, regardless of your belief on what happened to Epstein, one thing is a fact. The government can't even protect a billionaire key witness in the largest trial in history. How can they protect you when you're disarmed?
Yeah.
Sorry. And we're back.
But
that meme though.
And you think about it, these Native Americans had the fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. But these motherfuckers actually kind of fought back. Because they're like, fuck them.
Yeah.
And they killed a couple army casualty themselves. 25 dead, 39 wounded. They fought back because they still had guns.
That's what you gotta do. Fuck them.
But they also didn't have those fucking Hotchkiss cannons that the U.S. cavalry had that fucking just wiped them out.
Well, that's because the people even back then didn't need to have a semi-automatic rifle.
Yeah.
They didn't need to have a whatever you just mentioned. The government's the only one that's allowed to have the big guns.
I like the term that they've been using here lately, and that's military-style weapon.
Yeah.
And then, did you like that picture I sent when someone posted that? And I said that I posted a picture of a Kentucky flintlock.
Oh, yeah.
It said, this was considered a military style rifle or gun in the 1800s. So don't give me that fucking bullshit about military style weaponry.
Once you go down the rabbit hole of natural law and you start to understand the most important thing in life is personal responsibility, and that you don't need a daddy government, all their arguments just seem so goddamn silly.
Yeah.
Like when you have to tell people these things, I feel bad for them. Like our listeners know. They know they don't need to be corralled and gun control, but all that. But I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way when you have any conversation, but it's taxing.
Yeah. Oh, it's powerful. Like, it's amazing. Like you see people, and you talk about like the fact that these are infringements, and it's amazing. Some of the people I've seen just like come out and say, "Well,
nope, yeah,
you're just being naive." I hate that fucking argument when it comes to like being lower on the fucking spectrum and being more in the, you're anarchist, I'm more minarchist level. And it's like, they call us naive.
Mm-hmm.
They call us naive.
Thinking that you should be responsible for yourself is naive. You're right.
And thinking that people can, by natural law, live together and cohabitate without a government to tell them what to do. And they're like, well, we need government. We need this bullshit. And it's like we were talking about the other day about Leviathan and Thomas Hobbes. And I'm like, this is the bullshit they've been feeding us all this time.
Right.
About how they're necessary. And the thing is they're the biggest killer that has ever walked this earth.
I think one of the first words we used on the podcast was democide.
Democide.
Yeah. So
don't give me that line and don't call me naive, because I know for a fact that those cocksuckers ain't looking out for the best of us. They ain't for our best opportunities or anything like that. They want to fucking kill us.
In this age of fucking infinite information, to have an argument so low energy as to say someone who's trying to help other people, calling them naive, I feel like is the nastiest form of mental laziness you can involve yourself in.
But they still do it.
That's some low dick energy.
They believe it's something it just sends me right over the edge.
As it should.
I've been, you don't know how many times I've been called naive because I'm like, hey, the government really shouldn't exist that much. They shouldn't be able to take our guns. We shouldn't be occupying hundreds of countries in the entire world.
Right.
We shouldn't be spending, 95% of our fucking budget on the military.
I can forget to eat for an entire day just citing random examples from where the government shouldn't be trusted with firearms or the ability to control other people.
Yeah. The government should be allowed to take taxes from my labor.
The social contract. Yeah. What about that? Yeah. Sticky arguments.
But they shouldn't be allowed to do any of those things.
No, they shouldn't.
But they still do them anyway.
That's what happens when you subjugate personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. Chadwick Andy asked if we're fans of Jordan Peterson. I would say yes.
Yes. I mean, I'm not like number one Jordan Peterson fan, but I read his book.
Yeah.
And, read. I listened to it in the car. And let me tell you something, it was a bit of a chore to listen to Jordan Peterson talk for like fucking 12 hours.
Jordan Peterson, reading Jordan Peterson.
It sounded like I was getting his 12 rules, except it was read by Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. I have a hard time with his voice.
Man, his voice, like, I'm surprised, I got through it. I wanted to listen to it because the dude is on fucking point with a lot of his shit.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Big dick energy.
The only, thing I kind of my bugaboo is it's where he's the big problem is about meaning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why we're having these problems is because people they lack meaning.
Right.
And he kind of directs it points it in the direction of we should find meaning in religious pursuits, right? That's what not completely, but that's what I get from him a lot.
Yeah.
And it's that's a slippery fucking slope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could have that 4-phase face change meme, and it changes from you being normal to you wearing an ISIS outfit.
I think that, or I think about that meme where it's a photo from the Crusades, and you have dudes in fucking Templar outfits slaying fucking peasants, and they're like, these people, they don't need cell phones, they're just out there living their life,
Right.
You gotta be careful with that shit,
It's funny in the meme world, but I don't feel like we're that far away from reverting back into that.
Speaking of cutting down peasants,
yeah,
it's a good segue into the second example I wanted to cite as to why you should never give up your right to defend yourself.
Never, huh?
And this hits closer to home,
Yeah.
I mean, Wounded Knee was in the United States, but this is actually in our state.
Mm.
I'm, of course, talking about, some call it the Kent State shooting, some call it the Kent State massacre. Massacre, I think, is the better word for it.
Yeah, massacre implies that there was no fighting back. It was just a slaughter.
Yeah, which it was. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. I will put in there that prior to the day it happened, there had been a bunch of demonstrations. Some windows were broken. An ROTC building was burnt down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was, I can't say 100% that there wasn't some fuck shit going on.
Yeah.
But on the day of the event, there was none of that. But basically how this worked up was Thursday, April 30th, President Nixon said that the United States was going into Cambodia.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said that there was Viet Cong and all that shit in Cambodia. Right. So the next day, on the 1st of May, a bunch of students at Kent State started demonstrating and against the war in Cambodia. And, and that was the first, that wasn't the day that the massacre happened, though. This was just a couple days before. Now, they planned on Monday, May 4th to hold a bigger gathering, right?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to start at noon. And the National Guard had been called in over the weekend because over the weekend, there was a bunch of shit going on, cars were burnt, windows were broken.
It was turning up.
In the town. It was starting to turn up. So fucking calling the National Guard. And National Guard's there that day. Right.
With guns.
Yeah. They attempted to disperse them, and send them back. A couple of them apparently were throwing rocks, but that harkened that back to, it's the same thing with how you're going to justify your actions against Palestinians throwing rocks in slingshots.
They're throwing rocks, moving the tanks.
Yeah, right. So throwing rocks and whatnot and then they start, National Guard starts throwing tear gas. They started walking up the little knoll. There was 2,000 students out here, right?
Mm.
They started dispersing them, and most of them did disperse initially. They were running away. Or not running away, they were going away because they told them to leave, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden the National Guardsmen they're walking with their backs to the student protesters. And then they kind of got to the top of the hill and they kind of clustered up and they were looking behind them. And then they turned around and one of them pulled out they all had M1 Garans. One of them pulled out a 1911 and just fucking started firing.
Self-defense.
Now, supposedly, the firing only lasted for 13 seconds and 67 rounds were fired, right?
Yeah.
There are multiple eyewitnesses to say, that's bullshit. It went on a lot longer than 13 seconds. And if you look at the numbers, bit by bit, you're going to see something. Okay, the closest person to the actual guardsman that was killed, there was 4 people killed, right? Multiple wounded. The person closest was 265 feet away.
Jesus Christ.
265 fucking feet away.
Well, even the guy that they quote us, I forget his name. You probably have it, but the first one that was brought up on all this shit, he maintained the self-defense story for quite a while, but then he had to drop it.
Yeah. So
absolute horseshit.
After the shooting, a lot of the students that left fucking came back. It was turning up because they just fucking opened fire on people.
Just opened fire on a bunch of
on civilians.
Unarmed civilians.
Okay. So they started turning up, and then I guess this dude, Glenn Frank, he's a geology professor. He sees this carnage, and he fucking gets on a bullhorn, and he says, and I quote, I don't care whether you've never listened to anyone before in your lives. I am begging you right now. If you don't disperse right now, they're going to move in, and it can only be a slaughter. Would you please listen to me? Jesus Christ, I don't want to be a part of this. And it worked.
Man.
Because here's the thing. He knew what was about to happen. And that shit makes me fucking sick.
Yeah.
That was going to be, like, he knew exactly what was going to happen if they turned up. Those soldiers would have fucking massacred.
Slaughtered them.
It would be even worse. Okay.
It's crazy that they had no reservations about opening up on people that weren't even being that aggressive.
Yeah.
Especially National Guard, air quotes, citizen soldiers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So that there is my two prime examples. I mean, there's others.
Right.
You got to think about the black stock market. Is that what it's called? Or the Black Stock Exchange in Kansas City. We bombed the shit out of that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's for an episode for another day, because I think down the road we got that one in the pipe. Because there's a couple of things we want to talk about with that one. That's more of a...
Our pipe is long and it is full.
That's more of an Afrocentric episode that we have planned. Yeah. We just want to do it its justice, so it takes a little longer to get that kind of wrapped up.
Right.
But, yeah, that, and, I mean, think about, like, or another example that's probably going to be in the episode is Tuskegee.
Jesus, yeah. I almost mentioned that as one of the glaring examples of why you should never trust government.
Yeah. But those are episodes for another day, because I think you got to put those in a little quarter for when we're going to do that episode.
All together,
Because
nice
that's
little bunch.
One in and of itself.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's been plenty of occurrences of the government overstepping their bounds. You know what I mean? I mean, we've talked about Ruby Ridge before. We've talked about Waco.
I think Ruby Ridge is probably the most fucked up one that I've done research on.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Because here's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, Waco was fucked.
Yeah.
Everything about it was fucked. And
they still have that security blanket, though, them being weird cultists.
Oh, people. Yeah, and being like, and arming themselves to the teeth.
Whereas Ruby Ridge, you literally shot some dude's kid and his dog, or like, you know what I mean? And then the wife, and then they just harassed the dude for how many hours with a bullhorn calling for his dead wife.
Well, and that's the thing. He got away with it, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they tried to fucking stroke him, but it didn't work because he was in the right. So that's one time justice actually prevailed.
One of the only times.
And he got paid. But at the end of the day,
what's it worth?
You lost your son, you lost your wife. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Oui.
But then I think about, like, times, like, I can't remember the dude's name. I'd have to look it up. But the awesome story where the government kept trying to take this dude's property. And I think it had to do with taxes or property. And he fucking steel-plated a fucking bulldozer.
Oh, yeah. The attack dozer.
Yeah, and then drove it through the middle of town. And it's like, right on, man. Like, fuck these dudes.
Right. I still see memes about that dude pop up every now and then.
That dude just, as far as I'm concerned, he just started the boogaloo like 30 years too early.
I know. I really don't, and we've said it before, I feel like the great work that we're engaged in is trying to awaken enough people to not have a bloodshed.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're closer than we've ever been, at least in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
To having a massive turn up.
And it's like I was talking to Tobians earlier about, she asked me about the 30 to 50 feral hogs. She's like, what the fuck is that? Have we talked about it on the show yet?
I don't think on the show.
Okay, so she asked me what it was. And I had looked it up a couple weeks ago because I kept seeing it pop up. And just to give you an idea of where hashtag Boogaloo could end up, right? So, you know what it's about though, right?
Yeah, we talked about
it. Okay. So, anybody out there listening doesn't know about the 30 to 50 feral hog thing. Basically, how it broke down was this. Somebody tweeted, why the fuck does anybody need an AR-15?
Reese.
Okay, of course. And then a guy from Arkansas is like, listen, if my kid is out in the backyard, playing, and then 30 or 50 feral hogs come out, a shotgun ain't gonna do it.
Right.
And then, so that's where the 30, 50 feral hog thing comes from.
You've got that going along with the idea that conservatives like that idea, and then liberals are like,
well, and there's such an interesting like nuance to it, because here's the thing: liberals make fun of it, right? Well, conservatives are like, that's a legit argument for having an AR-15.
Yeah.
And that right there, my friends, that is where the true divide exists.
It's a shame.
You have two different groups, two different subgroups of people living completely different lives, and neither of them knowing how they live their lives.
Right.
Right? Like, they don't, like, people who live in metropolitan areas and the coastal elites and all them, they don't understand how rural people live. And not only that, they mock that's like something we have to deal with.
Right.
Instead of just accepting the fact that we have different struggles than you have. You know what I mean? Maybe an AR-15 isn't the most appropriate weapon if you live in New York City. Maybe it's a 38 snub nose. You know what I mean? Because you got to deal with 30 to 50 feral thugs. I don't know.
Yeah. If you end up having information on the Clintons and you need a 30-round magazine, good luck putting that in your snub nose, though.
Yeah, you are right about that.
I don't understand what we have to do as a people to understand, like, it's a good segue towards the Neil deGrasse Tyson argument. Like, quit allowing the media and the government to play up these murders. Granted, they're fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But I feel as if everyone had their own, if we were like a modern Wild West society, these douchebags would be infinitely less likely to run into a building thinking they're going to shoot up a crowd of unarmed people.
Yeah.
And to have these emotional arguments about taking away somebody's right to self-defense because it makes you feel safe in your fucking gun-free zone, like, go sit on a dick, you know? Give me a break.
And I was talking about this earlier too. I said, when it comes to these mass shootings and stuff like that, I'm going to point to three things that I firmly and fully believe are three bigger factors than the fact that they can get these guns in the first place. Because as far as I'm concerned, you get mass stabbings in fucking England and shit like that. It doesn't matter what you got.
Right.
People are going to go off the hinge. And those three things are this. And you can see this correlates with these mass shooters too. Raising a fatherless home. Now, I'm not saying just because they're raising a fatherless home, because if you have... men need male role models.
Yeah.
Even if it's not their father, right? They need somebody, right? But that's one thing they have in common. Social media is my second thing, because it has more or less backed these fuckers in a corner, and they feel like this is the only way that they're ever going to fucking be heard, right? Amongst the crowd. Because the din is so fucking high now with the social media and everybody having their cocksucking opinions that they felt like they're not heard anymore.
Yeah. Right?
They're just lost in the crowd. And that's just part of the social media thing. There's so many aspects to the social media thing to it. That's also almost an entire episode talking about how social media has destroyed society in and of itself.
Yeah. At
this point. But I'd say the third big bugaboo that I would say you definitely blame over the guns is the overprescribing of psychotropic medication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without a fucking doubt.
Well, that's the thing, man. I had always kind of felt that way. And then the more you read about those things, like, they're not only unproven to be effective at whatever they're prescribed for, but it was the Shill Joe Rogan podcast again that pointed out the most prescribed drug, and I don't remember what year it wasn't that long ago, but it was Abilify.
Yeah.
And Abilify, the reason why doctors prescribe it is because it's supposed to booster the antidepressive effects of an antidepressant drug, right? So you're taking an antidepressant drug that has all these homicidal, suicidal tendency side effects, and then you've got Abilify, which is an antipsychotic.
Huh.
You're just adding a fucking chemical soup in your brain.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you think you're playing Grand Theft Auto in the middle of downtown Dayton.
But I would put those three things before the rest of it. Because people say it's a mental health issue. Well, tie those three things together, and that's what's causing the mental health issue in and of itself. The three biggest factors.
Yeah.
No male role models, social media, and psychotropic drugs.
I'd also like to add another one just for cheeky effect, but it's still somewhat effective, is the fact that if you're feeling like shooting up a crowd of people, or you have these anti-gun arguments in your head, or hell, even if you feel like controlling a mass of people, you should probably go talk to your doctor about having low testosterone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so
get your levels figured out.
I think that about wraps it up for the show.
You got some shout-outs? I don't have it in front of me because we're broadcasting live on Instagram, but I got 3 shirts going out tomorrow.
Ooh.
One medium, one 2X, and one 3X. So if that sounds like you, those shirts are going to be in the mail.
There you go. Got those shirts.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So many emails. So last week when we left out of here doing the late cast on Tuesday, I sat down to begin editing, and I had a tab open. One of the 28 tabs on my fucking browser was for PayPal, and I clicked it just by happenstance because I don't check it that often. And shout out Amber Grant, $20 hitter.
Ooh,
on the PayPal, unexpected. Nice. I'm not even sure that I've shouted out the PayPal before.
Yeah, hey, it exists.
It does. So I've got the shirt guy going. I was joking with her yesterday. I was like, we've been talking back and forth about getting another pile of shirts put together, and it's been cordial so far. But and this is directly to you, Mr. Sailor, the shirt man. I said, if it takes any longer, I'm gonna have to treat you like a Hebrew slave. She's like, oh no big deal. She was gonna watch the live. We were talking back and forth on Instagram earlier, but she's like, it's 11:30. I gotta sleep.
I understand.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
She's got a job in a factory as well.
If I had to get up for work in the morning,
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't be up right now.
No. Luckily, the factory gives us such great days off as Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right? It's awesome.
It's great.
But any other shout outs to do?
Probably, but I won't remember until I get home because I'm a fucking piece of shit. I should say that the three shout outs for the names that I can't find. I know one is Orion. I asked him the other day if we'd sent him a shirt yet, and we hadn't, so.
Oh, shit.
I felt like a shitbag about that. But the other two are for iTunes reviews.
Oh, fuck.
So if anybody wants to get a free t-shirt, head on over. That made it.
I'm sorry.
Made it in there. Head on over to iTunes, look up the Bones and Tubs podcast, and leave us a review, screenshot it, send it to bonesandtubs@gmail.com, and I'll send you a t-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Still going. Hey, you do need to go over there and check out our Instagram.
Instagram.com/bonesandtubs.
Leave us a message.
Yeah.
I could guarantee I need to get more apt with the messaging.
You said it every week.
I know I do. I just feel you're more eloquent than I am.
I just like people, man.
I'm super awkward. So trust me, you don't want to have conversations with me.
You're behind a thumb keyboard though. It should make you like all these other low T homos. You could feel really good about it.
Yeah.
Being behind the shield of social media.
There you go.
Should make you feel boisterous and strong. You could threaten people and not get punched in the mouth.
Well, see, that's the thing. I grew up with the mentality that, if you say the wrong thing, regardless of whether it's online or not, somebody could punch you in the mouth.
Probably will.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll fight when I gotta fight, but I don't want to catch any random punches for no goddamn reason. You know what I mean?
His hands are rated E.
Plus, I've always said I hate online arguing and shit like that because I feel like if I could get a person in the same room with me,
yeah,
I can at least I get to admit certain aspects of what they're saying is wrong.
Oh, honey.
Oh, no. But you know what? If you want, you can check out our PayPal.
Yeah, paypal.com/bonesandtubs. I was going to say we needed money, but I actually won a lawsuit this morning. I haven't talked to you about this yet.
Okay.
So we have no more need for sponsors. We have no more need for donations because I won the lawsuit I had going against the Discovery Channel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they took the show title Naked and Afraid from my childhood.
Oh, those bastards.
Won my day in court, so now we're going to be living large.
But seriously, though, go over to PayPal if you want.
No, seriously, because that lawsuit was a fictitious make-up story. We need your money.
Goldstein lost that one.
I know.
Damn it.
Motherfucker.
But if the usual route we get money, if you want to go there, is over to Patreon.
Patreon.com/bonesandtubs.
There you go.
We got reward tiers. Jump on it.
We're on Twitter.
Twitter.com/bonestubbs.
There you go. And we're on Facebook.
Fedbook.com/bonesandtubs.
We'd like to thank y'all for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope you tune in next time. We hope that you have a good week. And if anybody asks, you know absolutely nothing about the Clintons.
Nope. Zip it up. We love you.
We really do.